Welcome. In this video I'm going to be doing a low power draw test with this Somikon 298Wh lithium iron phosphate portable power station. So if you find this video helpful and you want to purchase one of these, I'll put a link to it in the description on Amazon, and if you use that link it helps me out a little bit and doesn't cost you anything extra. So I've done some other videos with this power station, and I'll put a link below to my playlist where you can find those videos. So my goal in this video is to see how long this power station will run this Raspberry Pi Zero 2. So this currently has Raspberry Pi OS Lite on it, and I scheduled a task to write a file with a timestamp every minute. So this will log every minute that it's running, and when this powers down this will just shut off. It's not proper to shut it off that way, but it should be fine, and then I can go back in and find out how many minutes it ran. So this isn't doing any specific task, so this would be the longest runtime you'd get out of something like this. Now this has Wi-Fi on it, so you could set up a Wi-Fi server and you could set this power bank somewhere, set this up, and people could connect to it or something, or maybe you set this up to mod or something, but I just want to see how long this will run. Now it's possible that this thing could see that there's so low power it shuts off, which I think it does after about 4 hours. It could maybe run for days. I don't really know, so that's why I'm doing this test. So I do have a power meter here, so I'll plug that into the USB, turn this on. Now I need to press USB to activate this, and I have just charged this up. And I'm going to reset my power meter. So it's currently running at 0.3 amps. That should drop down, and that's at around 5 volts. Let's zoom in on this a little bit. And we're not seeing any watts drawn here. So this has dropped down to 0.11 amps, and that's what I expect from it. So I'm going to let this run, and I'll come back when it shuts off, if that's hours later or days later, and I'll give the results. Okay, so my test has concluded, and with the Raspberry Pi plugged into this, it ran for 7 days and 19 hours. So let's look at some numbers here. Here's the power meter. So this used 93 watt hours, and I have it plugged into this USB charger. This is not going up fast enough where this is affecting it, but it was 93 watt hours. And this did settle into running at about 0.10 or 0.11 amps. So that's a much lower capacity than this battery. So what I suspect is that the electronics in here were actually taking more power than the Raspberry Pi, but it didn't shut off prematurely. And then another thing, let's see if we can turn this on. So here we see 0% here. So as this was running, this was very slowly draining down. And last night when I went to bed, I think it said 42% on it, and it was off this morning. And then I turned it on and it said 18% just for a second, and then it said 0 and it turned off. So the hours never changed from 99, and it never showed more than 1 watt, so that was lower. So I don't think this was very accurate when we're doing that low power draw. So you can't look on here and say, oh, I had 99 hours left. So that's something to take into account. So let's talk about some applications of this. You could have a Raspberry Pi on there. You could also use something like an ESP32. This has a temperature humidity sensor on here. So you could place this somewhere where you want to monitor the temperature. This probably takes similar power to the Raspberry Pi. I don't know that you'd get more runtime if this is lower power, and it actually might be lower power because, like I said, the overhead of this seemed to drain more than the device itself. So another application for this would be a portable security camera. You can plug that into the USB. This is going to draw more power than those. But say you have someone breaking into cars or something, you could set this in the backseat of the car, put this up where they can view outside the car, and you could record, and you could probably run this for even a couple days with a load like this on it. But one thing I did find out with this test is even having this low load on it, this doesn't shut down because it's not sensing a load. It does sense that load and it does stay on. So I don't know that this is the best device for running a load like this. There's probably more efficient ways to do it. But if this is what you have and you have some kind of application you want to do, especially temporarily, you could do this. Now you could certainly test it like I did and see how long it runs. I think one of the biggest problems is this doesn't tell you how long it's going to run. And I did double tap this power button to dim the light. I don't know if I mentioned that before, but the light was on the whole time for this display. So that's all I'm going to cover in this video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you like this video, please click like. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'd appreciate if you could do that. And thanks for watching. Until next time, goodbye.